Here's a 3D resin bloom tutorial in our crystal edge sea mold. As you can see, there's lots of sparkling crystals on there and enough depth to finish it on the back. For this, I'm going to be using some new resin inks from Octopus Fluids, Melon, and Evergreen, along with Castin Craft white pigment paste. I waited until the resin was about 38 degrees Celsius before pouring it in the bottom, and I'm using less than 2 ounces there, probably about 1.65 or 1.75. And I found JDiction Low Viscosity Resin gives me the best results for my flower blooms. There I'm just pouring that, and I'm going to add a little bit of crushed glass and iridescent glass beads for the center, because you always have to have a little sparkle in your finished piece. And really, this does give you enough room to do the bloom and fill the back to make your colors pop. I was excited to try these new inks, and this is supposed to be a red color. It's called Melon, but as you'll see in the finished result, it's not too red. I do like this Evergreen, and these are the resin inks, which are much more concentrated than their alcohol inks by Octopus Fluids. And I did end up adding a little bit of sun there in the center, which is a yellow. And I think the sun blended into the Melon, so maybe that's what got rid of it. My white was in a piping bag, and it was pretty warm. It was probably over 40 degrees Celsius. But as you see, the white is staying put. It doesn't really move. And of course, the resin ink colors don't move because they're so thick and concentrated in color. And I'm just drawing the outline of the circle there. There's only about 0.68 ounces for the white with 6 drops of Castin Craft white pigment paste. And here I'm just drawing in the lines, the usual 12 and 6 o'clock, 9 and 3 o'clock. I tried doing less color with this one because I tend to oversaturate my colors, but I don't know, even though I like the white petals, I like lots of color. I like the explosion of color that I get in my blooms. There wasn't almost enough color to drag the petals through. And I'm wiping off the silicone pen between each swipe. I love these flower blooms. They always turn out so pretty. When I get around to doing the back here, I mixed up 3.83 of just the high gloss resin by JDiction. There's no need to use low viscosity. I started using carbon black acrylic ink, 12 drops, but I ended up using 2 drops of black pigment paste and then 2 tiny scoops of Let's Resin ultrafine glitter powder in laser black. I didn't want the black too heavy, but I always like putting a darker background on my resin blooms because it makes the white pop and it makes the crystal edges pop. If you have clear resin sitting there, you just don't see it. And if you put mica powder in the edges, it tends to dull the crystals, and I want my crystals sparkling. So there, my hand's in the way as I'm pouring out the black. I probably could have used a little bit more because I do have to drag it into the edges right there. And then the next day, it's done and ready to be demolded. I did lose that melon color, or it does look like sun bled into it, but I do love those white petals and they pop against that black background. Let us know what you think in the comments below.